Welcome everyone to the on-demand recording of our Indicia versus Stamp presentation. This presentation is formatted as an online lunch and learn, designed to give our listeners the information that they need without taking up too much of their time. In this session, I cover the basics of how and why your choice in postage may influence a purchase or donation. I also cover other design tips for increasing response. Before I get started, I'd like to take a moment to introduce myself. I'm Allison Jensen, and I'm the marketing manager for Compu-Mail. A little bit about us. We work with progressive marketers to increase customer spend by helping them talk to their customers, their donors, and their patrons in a way that their competition isn't. And we serve a variety of industries, including retail, education, nonprofit, insurance, casino gaming, financial, and others. Since this is an on-demand recording, I won't go over the housekeeping items, but I will leave them here for your reference. Our contact information is available at the end of the presentation, and you're welcome to reach out to me at any time. For those of you that might be tweeting about this presentation, please feel free to tag us using @YourCompu-Mail. And with that, we'll get started. As some of you may know, I always like to begin a lot of my presentations with a set of definitions. This is just to make sure that we're all on the same page and we're all looking at the information from the same perspective. First, we'll define the indicia. An indicia is a postal marking often imprinted on mail or on labels to be affixed to mail. And here I have an example of a Compu-Mail indicia. You could use a plain text indicia like the one I just showed, or you can use a picture permanent indicia like this in the right corner with a logo or another image in the place of the text. So a picture permanent indicia it provides commercial mailers the opportunity to include corporate logos, brand images, and trademarks in the permanent indicia space of first-class mail, automation letters and postcards, and all USPS marketing mail letters. And the example that I have here in the right corner is what it might look like if we used a picture permit on one of our internal campaigns. We don't typically use them ourselves, but we have had a casino customer use one before. And these kind of permits, the picture permits, can help boost the open rates of your mail piece by providing a splash of color that stands out and grabs attention, improving the effectiveness of the overall campaign. One thing to keep in mind, though, with picture permits is that the added cost of the campaign, because now instead of printing the indicia in black and white, it has to be run through a machine that can print in color, that just increases costs, naturally going from the black and white to full color. We do have the capability to do that, but I would just have to double check what that expense would look like for you. In addition to the indicia, meter strip is another postage option. A meter strip, the definition for that is printing postage directly onto your mail pieces or onto meter tape, which you then affix to your mail. So again, in the top right corner, I have an example of what a meter strip might look like. This is an example of one that was on a mail piece that we sent out from our office. And then there are stamps, which I'm sure we are all familiar with. A stamp is a government adhesive stamp or imprinted stamp for use on mail as evidence of prepayment of postage. Again, here's just a quick example in the top right corner. There's a couple different types of stamps. So the first one is a forever stamp. Defined here, as the name suggests, forever stamps can be used to mail a 1-ounce letter regardless of when the stamps are purchased or used, and no matter how prices may change in the future. So if you purchase a forever stamp at one price, it doesn't matter what the postage is, 6 months to a year later, you're always able to use that stamp. You don't have to buy additional postage or put like 2 stamps on there to get to the postage price versus, you can always use that forever stamp no matter what. There are also pre-cancelled stamps. Pre-cancelled stamps are special stamps that come in small denominations and are specifically for pre-sorted first-class mail and USPS marketing mailings. Mailers apply these special stamps to envelopes at a lower postage price and a nominal fee, and then they pay the difference when they drop the mail off at the post office. So now we will get into how you can use postage to increase response. I wasn't actually able to find any quantitative statistics to support this, but every article that I read when researching the topic, they all seem to agree with my general assertion that postage has a subliminal effect on whether or not a person is going to respond to a direct mail piece. That's why your choice of stamp or indicia might end up influencing your customers and donors to make purchases and donations. One reason for this is that we unconsciously associate stamps with personal mail, and indicias more with commercial mail, bills, marketing messages, and things like that. So our eyes are almost programmed to look for stamped pieces first and sort our mail that way. And that's just because a stamp inherently looks more personal than an indicia does. Nothing against the indicia. But especially considering that the stamp gives the illusion that somebody took the time to place it there by hand, though it's typically done by a machine. So to that point, if you're trying to achieve a deeper personal connection with the recipient, you might want to choose a stamp over an indicia. That doesn't always matter to everybody, but it can sometimes be important for cases like nonprofit fundraising appeal letters that need a personal touch with the donor. The stamp will look a lot more personal on those appeal letters than an indicia might. Again, it can be difficult to give this a quantitative value, but depending on the piece, we typically find that stamps do increase response rates. But we always recommend testing to see if the indicia is more effective or if the stamp is more effective for you. Should really just be part of your marketing plan so you can see what's best for you and for your business. And if you wanted to run a test or anything like that, you could ask your account representative for help. And if you don't have one yet, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information will be available at the end and also in the follow-up email. So the email that this recording is included on. For those of you that might be viewing this and you didn't get the email, I will definitely make sure that my contact information is available at the end of this presentation. As I start to wrap up today's presentation, I'd like to leave you with some other design tips. As you're designing your piece, be sure that your logo is prominently displayed and that the piece reflects your brand so you can remain consistent with your other branding and marketing messages. It's also important to consider whether your offer and your call to action, your CTA, is prominent as well so that the reader knows what you want them to do next. It's really important to lay out that next step without making them guess what that next step is. Along those same lines, clearly indicating how to redeem your offer or make a donation is another important feature to display prominently. You do not want to make them guess what that next step is. I can't stress that enough. You don't ever want to make your reader guess. So these tips, combined with everything that we covered on Postage, will help you create messages that encourage a response. So that's everything we have on Postage and mail piece design. I do want to leave you with some bonus content here, which is the 2020 postage rates that the United States Postal Service recently announced. So if you look here, you can see the current and proposed price for a couple different formats, couple different products and things like that from the USPS. I won't read them all to you, but I'll just leave this here for a second for you to review. And I do want to say I'll be doing an online lunch and learn on postage rates in January, but this is just a quick overview of the prices now to kind of get you thinking about your marketing budget for 2020. Here is some additional information. You can see where first class automation and standard automation are increasing a little bit. It looks like nonprofit automation will remain the same. I do recommend working with a provider like Compu-Mail. We can help you with the pre-sorting and we can help you find the postage savings to help offset the steady increases in postage. So if you need help coordinating any of your campaigns, we are definitely here for you. For those of you that aren't familiar with us, we are a full-service mail service provider. We work very closely with the United States Postal Service to ensure that you're getting the best possible postage rates and the most timely delivery of your mail. And our primary focus is really on delivering quality print and mail solutions. Our expertise is in various disciplines of direct marketing, and it might provide a valuable solution to simplify your campaigns. We hope you find as much value in this content as we do. So with that, we will move to questions. I do have a few questions that we often get from customers and prospective customers that I can cover first. So the first question is, how do I know what mailing class I should be using? Ideally, you wouldn't have to make that decision. If you were working with us, you could provide us the information about your mailing, and we can kind of help you figure out what that postage should be based on the USPS rules and specs, and we'll help you find the most efficient way to mail your piece out. We won't ask you to necessarily determine the postage rate yourself, but we can help you. We can work together to help you with that solution. Another common question that we get is, what does pre-sort mean? So pre-sorting is the process of taking a mailing list and sorting it by zip code so that the addresses are in order of where the piece will be delivered. Pre-sorting a mailing saves the post office time not having to sort through it themselves, and when you save the post office time, it saves you money, so pre-sort is definitely an important part of that process. A third question that we get is, what is full service print and mail? This is a USPS certification that designates a print and mail provider like Compu-Mail. It designates that they have met certain criteria for the way that they process mail. So this includes pre-sorting. It includes the use of intelligent mail barcodes, which are those lines that you see at the bottom of the piece that the post office scans. And it also includes the information about the mailing that's being submitted electronically to the USPS for processing. So all of these factors make things easier for the post office, which again means less time for them and more savings for you. So those are a few common questions that we get. If you happen to have questions on anything else, there's anything else you want us to go into detail for, any other topics you want us to cover in the future, feel free to email me. Again, you can just use my information from the email that this recording was included on. And thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day.